YouTube, Jeremy the One Wildcrafter here, and yesterday the Wooded Beardsman and I built these overnight winter survival shelters, set some snares. In this video today, we're going to go out and check those snares. I'm going to show you how to make a hare pound, which is a really effective way to bait snowshoe hares and increase your chances of catching them. And fingers crossed, this is a catch and cook video. Alright, time for us to go and check the snares, which we can do some, this got damp last night and it's got a little bit of surface rust. It got very rusty. It's going to need some TLC. I did not do a good job of keeping that dry at all. That was bad. My bad. Anyway, we'll go do some incidental hare hunting while we check snares. Trying to use up some of my older shells that I have. And what happened, of course, this crummy little cardboard box opened up in my pocket. So I've got a pocket full of shells. These are solid points. So headshots only. Well, one empty snare. Probability. Empty. Number 3. Boop. That's a fresh grouse track right there, and those are rabbit pellets or the crotals of the hare. No. None there either. That's a bad success rate. So I'm 0 for 5 on snares. So no hares so far. Now the best I can hope for is to shoot one while hunting. So that's one trap night of snares. What we're going to do now is build a hare pound, because I think because they're baited, they have a better chance of success. So we'll see if now by tomorrow morning which one's going to produce, my 5 snares on runs or some snares and a hare pound. Now, they didn't take me that long to set up these snares. They're all pretty close to where we built our shelter, so I didn't really give anything up in terms of not cutting firewood or not building my shelter bigger. It was a pretty small investment of time, although if you are lost, food is really your lowest priority. But it's definitely kind of the most fun part. One on your snare.
Yeah, she's all tangled up though.
Yeah. Alright, I guess we're cooking.
Yeah, we got some food.
So it looks like this is going to be a catch and cook video. We ended up with 2 hares to cook, and the catching part isn't over yet because we're going to make a hare pound, which is a way to bait hares and improve your chances of catching them. So we'll get those 2 snowshoe hares cleaned up and get them cooking. We'll probably want to stew them for as long as we can before we eat them, so they are less tough or not tough at all. And then once they get started in there, we'll make a hare pound. I'm also going to carry my 22 round with me, so there is still a chance for more snowshoe hares or a grouse. I did see a red squirrel, and just based on regulations in here in Ontario, you cannot hunt red squirrels, but I did recently get my trapping license and I have permission to trap the property that we're on, and so I can harvest red squirrels with my 22, but they're so small. Sam Thayer, who's the author of The Forager's Harvest, Nature's Garden, Incredible Wild Edibles, I think I got those 3 titles right, which are excellent books, by the way, and you should go to his website and check out what he does and get some of those books. He figured that it would take 26 red squirrels to meet your calorie requirements for a day. So there's no way I'm going to go out and harvest 26 red squirrels. And you know, if you're putting in the effort just to catch 2 or 3, then you're probably creating a caloric deficit. Now, if that's all you've got and you're going to be out checking traps anyway, it probably makes sense to have some traps for red squirrels if you're in a real survival situation, or if you have permission to do so with a trapping license or so on. And maybe I will do that one day, but that's not in this video. I don't know if I really talked about the weather yet, but it's warm right now. It's just below freezing. Can you see that there's a little bit of snow falling? I don't know if it's showing up. Anyway, what's going to be interesting about today is beginning around noon, we're supposed to get up to 25 centimeters, which is about 10 inches of snow, which is about how much snow is already on the ground right now. So we're basically looking at a doubling of snow by tomorrow. So that can present interesting challenges, because snares that we set could be snowed in by the time the hares are active tonight. So that's something we have to keep in mind when we are making the hare pound. So in that short period of time that we were gone, our fire almost went out on us. Just a bed of coals. We'll stoke that back up. Try and keep this covered and dry at all times. Definitely gonna have to clean that rust up when I get home though. That's a problem. I don't think it burnt down so much that we need to do anything special to get it going again. Just push all the dry twigs to the middle. Get some more firewood on there. It's good to tidy up the edges of your fire anyway. Keep moving all this dead stuff in and burn it up. We did accumulate a pretty good pile of branches and other firewood yesterday when we were building our shelter, so we made sure that all those odd pieces ended up close by to the fire where we can use them easily, keep them kind of dry. And we cut some additional firewood, and that was partly what can keep you warm in the night too if you're getting cold. Even if you have firewood, cutting firewood is a great way to warm up. So get yourself moving, cut some firewood, lie back down again, get some rest, get up, move around, especially if you're not really dressed for the conditions as I am. Well, fortunately it's warm enough out, and these hares were caught recently enough that, ouch, they shouldn't be Shouldn't be too hard to clean, so all I'm going to do is peel the hide off to the head, cut the head off at the neck. I'm going to cut the paws off each of the 4 feet. I'm going to remove each of the hindquarters. I'm going to take half the back, which has the back straps, take the front half that has the rib cage, and remove each of the front quarters. So there'll be 6 pieces of hair, and that should all be able to fit in a stew pot. If you want to see how to clean a hare, I definitely have lots of videos on my channel that have that content, so you can always pop over there and scope those out. Anyway, those 2 hares are cleaned, quartered, and in the pot. So that's just going to sit and cook. We'll keep this fire going, but let's go build this hare pound. I'll show you how to bait a hare pound to increase our chances of catching a hare, and then hopefully tomorrow morning, despite the snow that I mentioned, we'll have some success.
I'm okay with it here.
Yeah, I think
because of the double set, we use that run.
Yeah.
Well, you're filming. We're talking.
I just turned it on. Yeah.
We're talking this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I have a double snare run.
Trail here, trail over here.
Right. And do we have a snare set on that one? We could add another one over there.
Yeah.
So take advantage of any increased activity that we come up with.
Yep.
But if we come in and then entice them to come off this trail over here.
Yeah. And we've got a bit of open space there to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got birch here.
I haven't even explained what a hare pound is really, but
yeah.
Hare pound 101, you're basically, it's you could also call it a hare corral, which might give you a better idea if you're into horses and stuff, but you're basically building like a fenced-in area, a dog pound. Okay. A dog pound or a horse corral. You're building a fenced-in area, and you're opening up a couple of runways in. You're filling the middle with delicious twig tips that they want to eat, and then they use your runways to get in there. You've got your snares there. So we're going to set one up and see how it works between today and tomorrow. Again, the caveat being 25 centimeters of snow. We're going to use a couple tricks to help keep our snares from getting snowed in, but that's what we're going to do. For bait, right now the hares are eating a lot of these wild raisin or nannyberry twigs because they're low to the ground. What they would like to eat are these yellow birch twigs and white birch twigs, but they are not down on the ground and they can't reach them, so we are going to cut some and then put them down in our hare pound. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're just going to make a 4-sided hare pound. I'm going to cut down 4 conifer saplings. Each one is going to make up a side of the hare pound. Here we go. So the idea here, you want the right size of conifers that when you lay them down, The conifer trunk is going to be high enough off the ground for you to set your snare. If you can see, Chris is breaking some of the branches and shoving them in to make a tighter barrier. And then we're going to open up a pathway, and that's where we'll set our snares. Alright, just going to squeak this one in through there. Want to just pull it through a bit. Should be good like that. I almost always have a pair of secateurs or pruning shears in my hunting bag. So what these are great for are clearing trails, making ground lines, cutting all those little fine branches that you want for shingling your winter survival shelter. And in this case, it's going to be really great for trimming along these branches and cutting small stuff to fill in, and cutting our bait.
Can you cut here?
Yeah, with the axe.
Well, I want to try to remake this trail if I can.
Okay.
If I can. You're kind of in the trail.
A little bit?
It's right
Oh,
here.
okay.
If I move it back a little bit.
I can't do anything about that. Oh, don't need no axe.
Oh, that's part of the trail.
What?
I made another.
Oh, you're moving it over.
And I also made another spot for a snare
Ah.
right here.
So,
So,
okay, I see what's going on.
yeah.
Okay. So you can see there's going to be a gate here, but everything else is kind of filled in. We're going to keep filling it in. There's a gateway here, so that'll be a snare. And
Probably
then
put one here.
one here, maybe
Yeah,
in
right
this
there.
space here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could just be breaking all these twigs by hand. That's what Chris is doing. But these are nice to save on your gloves.
You mind snipping this one? It's up here. That's part of the original trail here.
Yeah.
So we can still use
It open a bit.
We can put a snare there, and then we'll just get them to skirt over here to where we want them to come.
Yeah.
Maybe there we can put another gate here. It's kind of along the trail.
You know, a hare could, if they wanted to, they could jump over this or push through it, but they're going to take the path of least
Yeah.
resistance, right?
Not that smart.
They're and you can kind of bulk these up, I guess, as much as you want. It's probably a good idea to have them partially see-through, because I don't think the hares want to walk into a blind box.
We're going to shave them all up. They're going to smell that. And they're going to be just dying to get in there. Literally. This area is all rebuilt. There'll be a runway here.
Okay, we'll go along here.
We don't want to step in here anymore. They'll kind of skirt around there.
Yeah.
And then once they get in, that doesn't matter in there.
Okay. So one thing I was thinking, because we're expecting all that snow tonight, is that we make a little roof over our snares,
Yeah.
and that'll keep them from getting buried.
And then having it dip down, I think helps it helps the snare work because the rabbit's going down the hill.
Yeah.
I have them on camera trying to go up.
Oh, it doesn't work so good.
And they if you feel something, they wiggle back down.
Oh, okay.
But if they're going down,
Yeah, they're already kind
they
of
can't
to gravity.
they can't wiggle back.
Yeah.
But I've seen it on camera, so I know how it works.
Yeah.
But if they're coming down, it's better.
Okay.
So we'll make a step down here, and then once they
some snares.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut some more of those balsams so we can have like a little roof over our what are we doing? 3 snares here. 4 snares.
We'll put one over there.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the gate, and we
We'll
have
get some
2
branches.
on this same run, so
Sounds
we
good.
should be in good shape. We just got to clear this trail out a little bit,
Yeah.
and then rebuild this one.
There's actually a fair bit of this yellow birch nearby. I don't know if we'll find a white birch, but we are going to cut some of the living twigs off. These ones are dead twigs. That's dead wood there. So we want to find a nice bunch of living twigs, and we're going to use those to stock our hair pound. Now, if you didn't know this about yellow birch, hares aren't the only things that like to chew on yellow birch, because they have a wintergreen flavor. So you can chew on the buds, on the new growth twig tips, and they're very minty, and you can use them to make tea. We're going to use them to make hair stew. I'm going to use this brass wire to make a snare. If you haven't done this before, what you want to do is to get yourself about 24 inches, 2 feet of wire. This package has 35 feet in it, which means I could make 17 snares or so, which is a lot of snares. And I have my multi-tool here with me, which is really handy. A lot of people say, oh, you can't get a Leatherman or a Victorinox because they're not one-handed. But those just aren't very coordinated people, I guess. So I better close it one-handed too if I'm going to make jokes about it. All right, I'm going to twist a little loop on the end, and I always learned from my dad to kind of form it on your knee by putting tension on it and pulling it, and then what that does is it kind of gives you the right shape for your snare. So in Ontario, you're restricted to a 4-inch snare approximately. I make them about the size of my fist, and I'm going to set it about a fist height or a little bit less above the snow. So give a couple wraps around the balsam, and then a few wraps around the wire. You don't want to get something in there and then have it pull your wire loose, although occasionally something will come and snap your wire.
Violence happening.
Alright, so once I have my snare approximately in place, what I'm going to do is get a little Y-shaped piece of dead twig, and I'm going to set that just underneath. We call that a chin-up bar, so it's going to encourage the hare to lift its head up as it comes through. And using a couple more dead twigs, I'm going to put some guides in here, because we want to make sure that our snowshoe hare goes through the snare and not just beside it. So we did open this up to set a snare. Now I'm gonna reblock it in so that just the snare part looks inviting. Good. Hop. Boom. Hopefully that catches a snare. captures a hare. A hare snare. A snared hare. Big bouquet of yellow birch. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to cut them up a bit so they're not longer than our hair pound, and keep them kind of towards the middle. And then you were saying too to scuff them up, right?
Yeah, shave them, put some shavings on
Yeah.
there, and just get the smell, the odor.
Yeah. All right.
Probably need a bit more than that, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More is better.
All right. Go get the NutriBullet and blend up some bark smoothie for them.
That would help.
Yeah. And then just spray it. Spray scent.
Yep. Grind it all up and smear it on all the trees, and
it'll break into my kitchen. So Chris is putting the finishing touches on his second snare. You can see I've got the little bit of a roof over those two. Actually, I think, Chris, are you going to put a third one over there too on that little piece of trail?
I was thinking so, because that's the original trail.
That's the original trail, and then there's actually a snare over here on that original trail from last night. And there'll also be game camera footage maybe on Chris's channel, so
Maybe.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once this is set up, I'm just going to cut a few more twigs, but really now it's a matter of waiting until tomorrow morning. See what happened. Sorry, gun. Sorry, axe. Get some tools under cover. Looks like the fire's just about out. This guy back to life. Sometimes if you just put all the coals together and all the little burnt stub ends, things light up pretty quickly. Alright, so the hair pound is set with 5 snares. We do have 10 other snares out, and tomorrow morning will be the tell. It started to snow probably about an hour ago. It's pretty light snow right now, but there's supposed to be a lot of it. We'll see what we get. I think that'll be a challenge. It makes a really nice atmosphere for a little winter camping adventure, but it also presents excuse me, some challenges. One of them being, without a big fire going continuously, you start to get a buildup of snow on the shelter, and then what would happen after is when you're sparking up your fire, that's all going to get warm and it's going to start to drip. So I would imagine it would get very damp underneath. I don't think my top is thick enough for the heat to radiate inside and shed water out the back and evaporate water out the top. That's my suspicion. I closed in the side, so that's helping to keep some of the snow out. You can see on Chris's side, his is facing into the snow, so he's getting a buildup of snow on his bed as well as on his roof. So anyway, we'll get a bigger fire going. Make sure we get this hare cooked up. It looks like it started to cook, but it's not done yet. Might kind of consider it a waste of time, but I like to keep myself busy by tidying up after cutting trees down for firewood and shelter materials and so on. I don't really like to leave that pile of branches around, so I often will burn most of those branches if I can. You have to be careful with the conifer ones because they'll make more sparks, which can be a problem when you're living in a very flammable shelter. Maybe not living in it, but staying in one. But it does leave a much tidier campsite after. Of course, most of the conifer branches that still have needles on them, I would just continually add them to my roof, the sides of my shelter, fluff my bed up a bit, and just continually improve it. We're gonna wait for this stew to cook, and we're not very good at relaxing, so we're gonna do some shelter improvements. Chris is thinking of maybe putting some branches on the front here to keep the snow from going inside his shelter, which would be a very good idea. And we will cut some more firewood, maybe build a reflector wall if I can get motivated to cut enough stuff. Maybe we'll do a reflector wall. And then the other thing I was thinking is, my shelter's pretty cozy, but there's all that airspace along the back. You can see the snow past my bed. So I was thinking of just stuff more dry balsam branches in there just to fill in that airspace. And that probably go a long ways to making my shelter a little cozier. Doesn't that look a lot cozier? I'm gonna make a reflector wall for the fire and also to keep some of the snow and the wind out. So the plan is I'm gonna build 2 tripods out of 6-foot lengths of whatever I can get, dead spruce, dead balsam, and those will hold up a main beam, and then across the main beam can just lean up all whatever else I can cut to fill in and form a little bit of a wall. Afterwards, if I want to, we can poach those pieces and use them as firewood.
We're getting awfully close here. We might have to move the fire back a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking it was starting to look a little bit risky.
Getting there. But I think this stuff's wet enough, and I don't think it's going to be like a flash. But once it dries, it will.
Yeah. Be snoozing, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's toasty warm in here.
God, just like everybody on that Alone show.
Yeah.
Up in Smoke. I think there's more than a couple episodes called Up in Smoke. And it's always the shelter. You can see how it would be easy to happen, especially when you got a fire inside your shelter.
Yeah, let's be good. One tripod. Like that. Just need 20 more. And then later they can just be firewood. Or
firewood drying rack.
Yeah. Maybe don't even have to be so fancy about cutting them. We can also just kind of stack up some of these other ones to keep them dry and off the ground. So as I cut more, I'll add more.
stinky rabbit.
Does it? Sounds appetizing.
Smells rabbity anyway.
Well, we're keeping busy while it cooks. But most of a start of a wall done. Clearly it's not form-fitted. But it definitely helps to cut the wind, makes a barrier, keep the wolves out, keep us busy, and then it can all be firewood after, right? So it's probably all stuff we'd cut anyway, except now it's a wall instead of a firewood pile. Double duty.
That'll work.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it's blocking any snow, but
Yeah.
a little bit of wind.
Yeah. Well, these are not ideal conditions for the clothing that I'm wearing, which is mostly cotton, but it's warm enough out and snowing heavily enough that I'll not be able to keep up to staying dry, I'm sure, unless I just brush myself off and hide in my shelter the rest of the time. But you know, there's firewood to be cut and equipment to manage and all that kind of stuff, so you know, it's not freezing cold out, but it still can be challenging gear wise. And next time for sure I would just wear some better clothes, but I kind of did it to myself on purpose. I just wanted to see how wearing cotton would affect me in the outdoors, because I normally don't. Here's the Wooded Beardsman, framed by our beautiful, what do we call that wall?
It's a firewall.
A fire reflector.
Firewall.
Let's call it a palisade. That sounds cool.
It's not that cool.
Oh.
It's a firewall because you're intending to burn it.
Yeah.
And it's breaking the wind.
Reflecting the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is breaking the wind.
A little bit.
A little bit, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's wind coming up in the corner here. That's where all this snow is coming from, but that wall's doing some good.
Well, think about the coverage, right?
Yeah.
It's probably 50%.
Yeah, at least.
Maybe 40.
Yeah, 60.
I'm being optimistic. It's
anyway,
blocking something.
It's an extra supply of firewood, and it's our vertical firewood storage system.
Firewall.
Let's call it that. Or just firewall.
It's called a firewall.
Yeah.
What's wrong with firewall?
Well, I think that term's already taken for computer security.
Well, it's actually the computer security took firewall from.
Oh, from bushcrafters?
No, from an actual separation from apartments or.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You have a firewall or fire break, I guess, is for forest fires, but
yeah,
you know, same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Firewall.
How far away are we from eating
I don't know.
rabbit stew
I was gonna test it
with Wodobo? Well, open it up, Wodobo Beard.
It's Snowbeard today.
Snowbeard.
I don't know. It's probably pretty chewy still.
Pretty chewy.
Probably.
Oh, well, guess we're waiting. Waiting in the shelter. Staying out of the snow. Trying to stay dry. Look at how that stuff's just like sticking to me.
That's what you're wearing.
Yeah. Yep. It's just good reminder for next time. Put on the wool, put on the snow pants, put on the thermals.
Oh yeah, we could eat it.
Oh, is it ready?
Well, it's not ready, but
Oh.
we could eat it.
Yep, here he goes. You were just about to take a bite.
Well, no, it's probably too hot for a bite, but maybe.
Be brave. Look at that, caveman style.
It's not done,
No?
but you could eat it.
It's cooked. It's not raw.
No, it's not raw, but it's not.
In case anybody's wondering. Yeah.
You could give it a go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been hungry waiting for this, so.
There's not enough adobo on it.
Oh no. Find that hard to believe, given how I saw you pour it in there, but maybe it's all on bottom.
Well, it's a big volume there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna grab a piece.
You can grab it. You can eat it. It's edible.
Got a little bit smoky over here. What am I gonna grab here? Ah, nice. I can't see. Too much smoke. What have I got? Grab it. Here. Oh. I got the back. The tenderloins. And ooh, it's too hot to hold. Just rest that on my nice clean boot for a minute. And the kidneys are still attached on the inside there. But let's see. Well, there's a kidney. Find the kidneys dry and crumbly usually. But the flavor is mild. There's a little bit of the flank, the rabbit bacon. I'm right in the smoke. On over here. Oh. Here. Sit there with me. Hey there. There's the rabbit's tail. The back straps. Rabbit bacon right there. That's what that is. I'm even going to put that in my video title as clickbait. Winter survival shelter. Eating rabbit bacon. Because there's gullible people out there. This is good. It's a little bit chewy. I don't taste the adobo.
I told you. You gotta put a lot. It's a big volume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a 3-liter pot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like this. It takes a lot.
So if you haven't had snowshoe hare before, it's dark meat. It's pretty mild. If you don't cook it right, it's very tough. This one's pretty good. It's very dry. So I feel like that's part of survival lore. Most people know that you cannot survive on hares alone. You will die of... I forget what. What do you die of if you eat just rabbits? Snowshoe hares.
Well, you die of starvation.
You starve because you don't get enough fat,
Yeah.
right?
You can't process the protein.
Well,
Like your body can't process the protein fast enough. And you end up with diarrhea.
it's too lean.
It's just wrong. You need 85% fat if you eat just animal parts.
Well, and this is not that.
No.
Well, there you have it. Rabbit bacon. So, should have a mirror so I can show you my camera sometimes. It's just like a white ball of snow around my microphone. And my sad little screen all covered in melted snowflakes. Probably shut her down here for now. But what we want to check into next is Hare pound versus trail run snares. Which one is going to produce? That's tomorrow morning. See you there. Well, I think we got about 7 inches of snow last night. Quite a bit. So as I mentioned yesterday, or earlier in the video for you, the snow was going to be a challenge in snaring hares. So we're going to go check snares. We're going to pull them. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be buried. But what we're hoping for is that the snares in the Hare pound, because we put a little roof over them, that they were still good, and that worked out for us as a strategy for improving our chances to catch a snowshoe hare. More bunny tracks. So these are fresh, not snowed on bunny tracks, and it only stopped snowing around midnight, which means that any tracks that we see now are fresh within the last few hours. I know what you're wondering. Like, when did he have time to change his coat? Didn't he? No. But I thought, no. I did not stay out in the shelter overnight. You not see how cold and wet and snowy I was? I wasn't gonna risk my health under those conditions. I just wanted to see what it was like to be stuck out with the wrong clothing. I'm verified that it's a bad idea. I'm not going to put myself into a actual survival situation. Give you an idea about how much snow we got. Look at how buried that snare is. Well, might as well go see how the winter survival shelter held up in the night with all that extra snow. What do we got? Our wall didn't fall down. And our rabbit stew is still there, our hare stew. Look at that cozy looking bushcrafted shelter in there. There is so much less snow here than what fell everywhere else. So there's a couple of different factors that resulted in this spot getting way less snow than other spots around. So number one, we're under conifer cover, so that's going to keep a lot of the snow. Number two, we're under conifer cover and conifer cover all around, so that cuts the wind big time, so you don't get that drifting effect. We also have the firewall or windbreak on the one side, and that's the direction that the snow was coming in, so that helped to, probably the wind came over the shelter and around. And if you go over here, there's only 3 inches of snow here, but we got about 7 last night, and you can see that I got 0 inches of snow inside my shelter. Well, there's the Hare pound. We'll get in closer here. I'll show you how our little hats did or did not make a difference in keeping the snares exposed. But one thing is, it looked quite a bit bigger before 7 inches of snow fell on it, and now it looks like something that a hare might just jump over. So I'm thinking I'm going to walk around the outside of it, pack the snow down, and then clear out each of the little runways, and then it'll be all ready for tonight's round of hare activity. There's actually only maybe one hare track in the vicinity here, and it was one that ran back and forth, it looks like, and it did go alongside the edge but did not go into the hare pound. So that snare there is actually still exposed, but the snow filled in on the other side. But you can see, oh, I'm zoomed in. Oops. There's that snare. You can see how much snow piled up on top of that little cover we made as opposed to the areas beside it. So it was pretty effective at holding the snow up, but the snow still fell down the front and the inside, and that might have messed things up for us a little bit. So we're going to hop in there, clear out those paths, and then we're going to walk around the outside of it to kind of stomp it down a bit. And I will have to check back here again tomorrow and see if it was effective. See, this one, we didn't put a little cover on it, and the snare is fully buried. So I'm going to trough that out a bit and make a little path that a hare might be tempted to go in. I'm going to go check the hare pound. There's been a lot of hare activity, and also some fox tracks in the fresh snow on the snowshoe trails. So that's all looking like a good sign for something in the hare pound. Well, looks like there's been some success here. Look at that. One hare, two hares, and you can definitely see that a hare made it inside the pound. There's all kinds of poop in here, which means that they have been feeding inside the pound. But overall, that's a pretty good success rate. Oh, there's a broken snare on that one. So one broken snare, one caught hare, one empty snare, one caught hare, and down on the outside here also an empty snare, but there is a track going in there, so that one was probably a close call. So that's only my second time using a hare pound, but in my now less limited experience, it's pretty effective, you know, for the amount of work that goes into it. And I would say with just a few minutes work, I could freshen all this back up, set new snares, and very likely catch more hares here. Anyway, two hares. Looks like maybe I'll be cooking hares at the bushcraft camp in the future.